Hello there. Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood, where we have no consistent topic. And anyway, today we're going to be talking about Samurai Cop. But before that, we're going to talk about like three other things. So just stay tuned.
See, that fits our
Uh,
description.
my name is Red Drum Arts. Our other people are.
Hello, my name is Patrick, and I am just happy to be here.
You can call me Lugia, and hi, I like bad movies.
Yeah, I like good movies. It's an interesting dynamic we got.
And I like everything in between, good movies, bad movies.
Yeah, Patrick likes every movie. Every time we go see a movie in the theaters, he always enjoys it. Even Ratchet and Clank.
I'm very easy to please, but
Even Ratchet and Clank. The
Ugh.
movie sucked.
I haven't given any thought to Ratchet and Clank in the 5 years since we last saw it.
God, that was 5
Yeah.
years ago.
That was 5 years ago.
Man, Jesus. Yeah, I think I cared about it more just because I've played like a good chunk of the video games.
I've only
Never
played
a Ratchet and Clank game.
2 and 3.
Yeah, I've played the original trilogy and the first PS3 game.
I've never played a single Ratchet and Clank game.
Yep. Anyway, let's talk about movies instead of video games. I have finished WandaVision the few days ago.
That's not a movie.
Close enough, man. Shut up.
Well, I mean, it's
And
linked
Patrick
to
has seen
MCU,
everything except
so
the finale. So this is going to be a spoiler-free discussion. But Patrick, what are your overall thoughts on WandaVision?
honestly, okay. So I was binge watching some old Disney Channel stuff when I got Disney Plus, and like when I was done with that, I was like, all right, what else do I watch? And I heard a lot of people saying that WandaVision is really good, and I'm like, I have no idea what to expect, so I'm gonna check it out. I got sucked in. It is so good.
Yeah, I really liked it. A lot of people say that you have to, like, if you haven't seen anything in the MCU, you don't need to know anything about it because it covers characters that got no attention in the other movies, so you can just hop right in. I haven't even seen half the movies that like the characters were in, so yeah, you will miss nothing if you just jump right in.
I mean, it connects itself to the last two Avengers movies. That's the only thing I could really catch.
Yeah,
Other than that, I was following it just fine.
yeah. If you've just seen the Avengers movies, you'll be fine. But like some people say, oh, you have to watch Ant-Man 2. You don't need to know Jimmy Woo's origin to understand this story.
Meanwhile, I haven't seen it.
Exactly. So my favorite episodes of the show were the first two episodes. Mostly
Honestly, I feel like the first episode, while good, isn't especially strong. It just kind of feels like a typical sitcom episode. But then
yeah, but
I feel
that's why I
at the
like it so
end,
much.
I feel like at the end, like when you start to realize that things are not as they seem, then I'm like, okay, what's going on here? What is this Pleasantville going
Yeah,
on?
I guess because of the context I have with the rest of the MCU, I was like, the first episode, I was like, oh my god, it's just an actual sitcom. This is great. They're gonna commit to the bit, and they did commit to the bit for about 3 episodes, and then they kind of revealed their hand. I'm not going to explain how they revealed their hand for Lugia's sake, but around episode 4 and 5 is when the series kind of shifts gears.
Yeah, and then it kind of focuses more Marvel than sitcom.
Yeah. I still think it very much still captures a lot of what I found interesting. The mystery and all that stuff is still cool. It's just, it's they handle it a bit differently from how the first 3 episodes handle it. But I think it's good for a TV show to keep changing. It's a little self-contained story.
So wait, was this like a one season deal, or are they doing a season two?
No, it's a one-season deal.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
a mini
strike while the
series.
iron's hot. Don't let it dull out.
Yep. Um, it's gonna connect to Doctor Strange 2 apparently. So yeah. I keep finding it weird that for 2 movies in a row they have teased the idea of a multiverse, but then they like didn't do anything with it. So I'm starting to question whether they're ever gonna do a multiverse, including the movie that's called Multiverse of Madness. I don't believe that there's gonna be an actual multiverse in Multiverse of Madness. I think it's gonna lie.
It's gonna make money though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More like the
Everything
multi-million
everything
dollar
these days
verse.
is about everything these days is about making a cinematic universe of some kind.
Yeah, but to be fair, Marvel started it, so I think they get a pass.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, every other company though, they failed at it. And there's one thing I feel like a lot of companies don't realize is that they aren't Disney. These companies think they're Disney, but no, Disney has spent 100 years cultivating a very specific brand and a good parasocial relationship that the only other company that's ever duplicated it was Nintendo.
Disney owns like what 30% of the world right now.
30% of entertainment, yeah. But that's the thing, like, uh it's not even just that Disney owns a lot of stuff. It's just that Disney has that relationship with this audience that other companies don't. Like when you think of Universal, like you don't think of any movie. You just think of like Universal Studios.
cha-ching.
You recognize. Oh, we saw Count the Hat yesterday, by the way. Jesus. Yeah. Um. Yeah. You don't like. There's no like particular movie I can think of when I think Universal, except Cat in the Hat because of that self-referential gag. Warner Brothers is kind of close. They kind of have like I
They got
find it
Looney
interesting.
Tunes
Yeah, they have Looney
and
Tunes
DC.
and they have DC.
Yeah.
That's Warner Brothers is like the only thing that I think could pull off a cinematic universe. But even then, like Warner Brothers' strengths has always been being like, if Disney's classical music, Warner Brothers is jazz. Like they always have to do something a bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of studios, different movie studios, Paramount Plus launched this week officially.
Yeah, and that's actually why I'm bringing it up because I think Disney, they have the catalog and the brand recognition for people to be like, oh yeah, I'll get Disney because I know what I'm getting when I sign up for Disney. But with
Yeah.
Paramount, it's like, I'm gonna Google, what does Paramount have? Do they have James
Paramount
Bond?
has Star Trek. They have Nickelodeon. They have Mission Impossible.
Wait,
What else
so
do
does
they have?
Nickelodeon have a deal with both Paramount and Netflix?
I don't know what the Netflix thing is, but I know Nickelodeon is owned by Viacom. So, and Viacom
Okay,
is also has Paramount. So,
all right.
I think it's a case where Paramount isn't really as recognizable of a company as say Disney.
Yeah,
honestly, though, I wasn't
like
really. I didn't really give much thought about Paramount Plus, but I'm slightly interested now because they announced that they're going to be shortening the theatrical window of their movies and then putting them on Paramount Plus a few weeks later.
yeah,
And
that's cool.
Paramount has a few movies on their schedule that I'm really interested in. So maybe
Sweet.
I'll invest, maybe not. I'll give it a few months.
Yeah. Out of the new streaming services, I know HBO Max is interesting. I feel like HBO has I guess a bit more brand recognition just because their identity is more associated with TV. So like when you hear HBO, you think, oh, The Sopranos, Curb Your Enthusiasm. A lot of Cartoon Network stuff though. I
Hmm.
think Cartoon Network and HBO must have struck a deal because they got a ton of stuff there now. All right, let's talk about some controversies that's happened. You guys
Ah,
heard about
yeah.
Space Jam 2?
Oh yeah, Space Jam 2.
All right.
Yeah.
First off,
Yeah.
who decided that Space Jam should have a sequel? Like we all
Okay.
know it's
Here's the
kind of a
thing.
bad movie, right?
Okay.
This
Here's the
has
thing.
been a thing for the past 20 years.
Okay. Here's the thing. We didn't grow up in the '90s, so we don't have the connection to Space Jam that a lot of people do. Because to us, we're like, oh, Looney Tunes back in action. That movie is great. But to '90s kids, Space Jam was something that's great. Looking back now, Space Jam is a terrible movie. The only redeeming quality about it is that it has got a level of corporate self-awareness that I don't think any other company has ever like topped. My favorite line from the movie is like, "Quick, lights up your Nikes, you'll get a Big Mac." Like he names like 10 products in a row. It's the funniest crap. But yeah, so the big controversy for Space Jam 2 is that they redesigned Lola, and the thing is that Lola sucked.
She was
So I
kind
don't
of there
care.
in the original movie, in like what the
Yeah.
Yeah.
final act and nowhere else.
Yeah, see, I think people care about Lola now is because the Looney Tunes show made her a good character.
She was hilarious in the Looney Tunes show.
It's been years
Yeah.
since I saw that show, but I do remember liking it.
Yeah.
I watched that show I think that was a show I watched the most on Cartoon Network. Like, I think that and a regular show is like the two things I watched the most in middle school.
Yeah, that sounds about
I-
right.
Yeah, because
Honestly,
I feel
I-
like we weren't that into Adventure Time. I mean, we liked it, but it wasn't.
I was into Adventure Time until season 5 came around. And then it
I've
kind of
seen
stopped.
I've seen all the episodes of Adventure Time. Season 6 was bad, but it got better with season 7 onward.
well, going back to Space Jam, honestly, I wasn't really that focused on the whole Lola thing. Like, I knew it was a thing that was trending, and I'm like, yeah, right. But honestly, the thing I was most shocked at was seeing Bugs Bunny in CGI. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, but I think it actually looks pretty good.
I mean, it looks all right, but like I was confused. I'm like, wait, everything I've heard, this movie is going to be 2D with live action.
Apparently, it's both, so I feel like they're gonna pull a SpongeBob sponge out of water thing with us, where it's gonna be like towards the end, it's gonna go all CGI.
I don't know. It was weird seeing Bugs Bunny with like realistic fur. And I mean, yeah, he is stylized with that. That's cool, but it's
Yeah.
weird.
Either
do think-
way, I'm not gonna be surprised if this movie ends up being a disaster.
Yeah, but it's probably gonna make a ton of money.
Because people like Space Jam for some delusional reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like it's probably a so bad as good movie, honestly.
That's...
I haven't seen it in a while though. I'm gonna listen. We enjoy Cat in the Hat, even though that's a horrible movie.
I
feel
don't
like
enjoy
Space
it.
Come on, that stuff was funny, man.
No.
It wasn't intentionally funny,
Cat in
exactly.
the Hat is
but
a
it was
cinematic
funny.
achievement.
That
Let's
shit
not
gave
kid
me
ourselves.
PTSD as a kid.
Yeah. All right. Well, still, some people enjoy Cat in the Hat. It's not a good movie, but it's so bad it's good to me.
You are
Um,
not bored watching the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
No, I'm incredibly mind-fucked watching it, though.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I do think the designs could look kind of bad though. Not like not because of like I don't know they removed her boobs or whatever. I don't care about that. Her jaw looks like Slappy Squirrel from Animaniacs, and it's so weird.
All right, we're still talking about Space Jam.
Yeah. Also,
Sorry.
I think the jerseys look terrible. But anyway,
I'm just waiting for a trailer because like I can't really say much about it if I don't really know what I'm getting into.
yeah. Hopefully the LeBron is a better actor than Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan did not act good, but I don't know. I saw Uncut Gems; they had a basketball actor in there, so maybe basketball actors are good now because Kevin Garnett did a good job in Uncut Gems. I don't know if
I
that's
guess
his name.
we'll just have to wait and see till the movie comes out.
Interesting enough, there was two other controversies today. This week, Mr. Potato Head, which I don't care about.
I've not
Oh,
heard that
yeah.
one yet.
Some people are mad because
They dropped the Mister from Mr. Potato Head to make it gender neutral.
yeah, but they didn't even do that. They just renamed the brand Mr. Potato to Potato Head, but they still sell Mr. Potato Heads. It's just the brand name isn't called Mr. Potato Head anymore.
Well, I guess Toy Story's not canon anymore.
Well, no, that's the thing. They still sell Mr. Potato Head toys. They just the brand isn't called Mr. Potato Head. You can still buy a Mr. Potato Head from the Potato Head brand. Nothing really changed. Conservatives are just mad because I don't know, gender.
Yeah.
Because 2021.
Yeah. Anyway, the actual big controversy, since we were talking about Dr. Seuss, is that Dr. Seuss got into a bit of a controverscy
Yeah,
because
6
of
books are no longer being published because of cultural
Racist imagery.
appropriation.
no, because of
Yeah.
racist imagery. He drew Chinese people unfavorably.
Which book was that?
That's the thing, though. The 6 books were apparently his 6 worst-selling books. So I'm not even sure if it's because of the racial imagery. They might just not be printing it because the books haven't sold well.
Honestly,
And I think the reason the books haven't sold well,
Of the 6 books, I don't really remember those 6 books very well.
I don't recognize them either. The way
Same
I
here.
see it is that the books are still going to be preserved for like historical reasons. You can still find the PDFs online. So I'm not like too torn up about it because it's not like you're not going to have access to it. They're just not going to be selling them anymore because parents don't buy their kids these books because why would you buy your kids the racist Dr. Seuss books when you can just buy them the not racist Dr. Seuss books?
Like Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cat in the Hat isn't racist. It's been a while, but the Grinch wasn't racist. Great, and the Grinch and the Lorax were pretty great.
Hmm.
Of course, I have not forgiven the Lorax for his crimes, but And one more controversy actually happened just last night, where people were upset about Pepe Le Pew. Some person was like, "Oh my God, Pepe Le Pew normalizes rape culture." I'm like, the whole point of the cartoon is that Pepe Le Pew is a creepy weirdo. Little children understand that Pepe Le Pew is creepy.
This one is news to me. I have
Yeah.
not heard this one.
Yeah, the
It
weird
was
thing
a
is
thing
that
last night, so yeah.
this isn't like a new thing. I remember 20 years ago, Dave Chappelle, he in one of his stand-up bits, he made a joke because I was watching like this little cartoon with my nephew. And I was like, man, this Pepe Le Pew is the what kind of rapist motherfucker is he? I was like, yeah, like Dave Chappelle made this joke 20 years ago. You're not doing anything special by bringing it up now. We know Pepe Le Pew is kind of weird. You just kind of like accept it. It's dark humor, whatever. You really
Okay,
gonna get upset about a cartoon from the
I think we've
50s?
discussed enough controversy.
Oh, that was the last one
Can-
anyway, yeah.
yeah, okay, can we move on to like the real meat of this podcast?
Yep.
18
Today we're
minutes
gonna be
in.
talking about Samurai Cop.
Oh boy.
So, a little background. This was the final movie directed by Iranian director Amir Shervan. He also directed a movie called Killing America Style, which you can find on Amazon Prime. I actually watched that movie too because I was curious, and I don't know how, but somehow, even though Killing American Style was filmed before Samurai Cop, he became a worse director somehow because Samurai Cop is a much worse movie than Killing American Style. Killing American Style isn't good, by the way. It's just like if you like Samurai Cop, you'll definitely like it. It's just it's slightly better made, just slightly, but like it's better made enough where it's a little bit less entertaining. Also, it's ridiculously horny, like unbelievably horny.
I remember you
It's
telling
ho-
me that. I guess the
it's
director
ho-
just kind of has a thing for that.
yeah, it's hornier than Samurai Cop. Yeah.
We'll get into
And
that
we'll
later.
get into that.
Yep.
Believe me, we'll get into that.
So yeah. Anyway, more background on Samurai Cop. Around the time the movie got this cult following, the actor for Samurai Cop, he kind of announced, "Hey, I'm still live," and he did an interview with Red Letter Media where he kind of talked about all the behind the scenes. So we can maybe get into that a bit later. They filmed a sequel to Samurai Cop on Kickstarter. Here's some funny tidbits. Did you notice that every single scene in Samurai Cop takes place during the day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's because he couldn't afford lights. So he just shot it with natural lighting. That's literally the reason.
I noticed a couple scenes where the natural lighting was god awful. But
Oh my god, the exposure in this movie is horrendous.
Yeah. Let's see. That big actor with the weird face, Robert Zidar, he's a frequent collaborator. He was in Killing American Style, and apparently he's in all of this dude's movies. So I don't know. I guess maybe Amir must be a good guy for them to stick around so long.
maybe he had
Um,
fun with the movies,
yeah,
and that's why he
there's
wanted
a
to
funny-
keep doing them.
So some behind the scenes stuff they revealed in the interview is that a lot of the scenes were done in one take, and the lead actor visibly he just stopped giving a shit after a certain time, and he intentionally messed up just to force the director's hand to do multiple takes. But the director just kept the bad take anyway. He didn't care. He also mentioned that halfway through the movie, he thought production was over, so he cut his hair, but then he got called in for reshoot, so he has a wig for like half the movie. So I played a little game of trying to determine which shots had the wig and which ones didn't, and it was pretty obvious. Also, he dubbed most of the movie. Now, granted, El Mariachi did this too, and that's a good movie, but it's kind of funny, like, most of this movie was shot without sound, and they just dubbed it in later.
I noticed a lot of scenes where the lip syncing for the where the lines were dubbed were very painfully obvious.
Alright, so now let's get into the movie's plot. Spoiler alert. Lugia, you want to say it?
Sure. This is just at a surface level, and there wasn't really a whole lot to obtain within that. So basically, two cops, Joe Marshall and Frank Washington, try to fight the Yakuza, or in this movie, they're called the Katana, which means Japanese sword. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Basically, it is a blatant ripoff of Lethal Weapon, but with like a couple elements of shitty kung fu movies. Yeah. So it's basically just a shitty Lethal Weapon ripoff. Have you guys seen Lethal Weapon?
No.
I have not.
It's apparently a classic. I don't like it. I've seen it like twice, and like it's not a bad movie, but I'm not
Aren't
feeling
there
it
like four
personally.
of them?
There are 4 Lethal Weapon movies. I've only
Yeah,
seen the
I
first
thought.
one, but I've seen the first one like 2, 3 times, and it just never clicked with me. Just one of those classic movies I can't get into. You know, there's other ones. I'm not a big fan of Ghostbusters, which a lot of people seem surprised by, but yeah, it's okay. It's not terrible, but it's not my thing.
Going back to the movie's plot, there is a relationship subplot, but it doesn't really add anything. It's just there. Actually,
Yeah.
I think this is the third movie in a row where our thoughts on the relationships amounted to it just exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim, we weren't a fan
didn't-
of Ramona and Scott's relationship. The Departed, we thought it didn't really add anything. And it's kind of the same case here.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen The Departed, but I imagine it's like this Samurai Cop is like the worst of it.
Yeah, this
Definitely.
one
At least The
definitely is
Departed
worst.
tried, kind of.
At least
Listen,
Scott
the
Pilgrim,
The
it,
Departed,
it's part of the story.
The Departed was still directed by one of the greatest directors of all time. This one isn't. So
And guys, this whole time I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking, the fact that he's a samurai has no bearing on the plot.
Yeah.
He uses
Um,
a katana once.
yeah, it's like in the finale. That's it.
I kind of took the samurai name as a code name.
Yeah, because I do call him Samurai a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, the fact that like he knows like all these moves and everything, he uses a gun most of the time.
Yeah, I find it really funny that Frank just has like this shit-eating grin the entire movie.
The restaurant scene, like, oh my god, that was genuinely
Oh.
funny.
The restaurant scene was one of the later scenes shot, and you can tell because the actor just clearly does not give a crap.
He
like,
had this drunken
we have-
stupor throughout all of his lines in that.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, and in America, for legitimate business, and this isn't legitimate business. I really like this. My favorite scene is the one with the cop, with the chief, where Frank is like, "We get results, man," and they just want the results, and and then he kisses his forehead. He's like, "Oh, you son of a bitch," and then he just holds the director just doesn't cut. Apparently, the behind the scenes of that is like the director just didn't cut, so the actor was just like, he just held for a while, and then he just leaned back in his seat, and he didn't know what to do, so he just started laughing.
Yeah, that felt like an editing mistake.
So this movie does many times try to intentionally be funny, and I've noticed that the jokes are so bad that they somehow kind of loop back around to being funny, like with the infamous nurse scene. Like the nurse scene was trying to be funny, and it was funny, but not because of why they thought it was funny.
It was not
Actually,
the intended direction.
There was one intentional joke that got a chuckle out of me.
Was it the
and that is
undercover one?
That's
Yes,
the undercover cop one.
the undercover that actually got a chuckle out of me. I'm like, okay, they tried.
You disappoint me, man.
Right.
When I saw when I saw that line, I was like, yeah, Patrick's definitely gonna find that one funny. Whatever.
And I kinda did. Kind
Yeah.
of.
The nurse scene was pretty funny though. Where it was like, I think your doctor cut too much off. It was like, no, he was a good doctor. I was like, what type of
Oh my
line is
God.
that? And what response is that? And then Frank came in and was like, hey, if you want a big dick,
Everybody in this movie is so horny.
Like literally, one of the female characters, her entire character is just fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, I swear they
definitely.
filmed a porno first and then decided to just film a movie.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a certain other movie, and you know where I'm
Yeah.
going with this.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, let's just jump in there because we might as well. compared to The Room, I don't think it's quite as funny as The Room. I think The Room has how do I put it?
The Room has Tommy Wiseau. Point taken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even Neil Breen is as wild of an actor as Tommy Wiseau.
He's
Tommy Wiseau's
definitely not
performance is-
charismatic is the word I'm looking for, but he's definitely enjoyable.
You
I
can't keep
guess.
your eyes off of him.
Yeah. Not irresistible, but enjoyable.
Yeah, and the acting is a little bit better than the like Troll 2 in The Room also. So yeah, like
That's not really saying a
it's not
whole lot.
saying much. Like this movie, like it's not competently made, but it's not like the most incompetent thing I've seen. I've seen worse. Like even Dolomite is shot worse than this.
There
Like,
are definitely merits
Dolomite's
to this film.
charismatic. Yeah. So this is something that you guys probably wouldn't have noticed because you didn't see Killing America Style, but they use the exact same songs from that movie in this one. I'm like, man, he just really likes that synth track.
Honestly, the official score for this movie is not badly composed, but like the sound mixing and editing and when it decides to come in is very off.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Um,
songs I noticed were like 80s synthesized music. I do remember liking the song that played at the club, but that only lasted for like a minute.
So I did compare this to blaxploitation films. I'd say stuff like blaxploitation films and Who Killed Captain Alex are better than this movie because in this movie the actors very clearly did not enjoy doing it. Same with The Room, but with blaxploitation and Who Killed Captain Alex, everyone involved loved the movie. Like they were very enthusiastic about it.
And surprisingly, Who Killed Captain Alex is a much lower budget film, like only $200.
Yeah, because you know it's made in a small village in Africa.
There was a passion for it though, which is what I think elevates it.
Yeah, Who Killed Captain Alex was able to keep a low budget because they were just able to convince like every single actor to do it for free. Yeah.
Honestly, though, if we're talking about our overall thoughts on the movie, okay, this is a movie like I've heard of it. I don't remember where, but like I'm aware it existed. And when I started to watch it and it just jumped right in with no logos or anything, it just displayed the credits. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I know what I'm getting into. And yeah, it pretty much gave me exactly what I wanted, but it also simultaneously gave me more and less than I expected.
Yeah. So
Definitely more in a certain aspect. I can tell you that for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Let's see. Also the action scenes, hilariously bad,
Yes.
and apparently they were all done like on the spot. Like the composer, not the composer, the choreographer, they kind of like worked it out 15 minutes before shooting every time.
So you're
You
gonna
guys
do
notice
this, and
during
you're gonna
that
do this, and you're gonna do this, you're gonna die over there. Got it? Alright.
You
This
guys
is our only
notice
take.
during,
We're
like-
not doing this again.
All right.
You guys notice during certain fight scenes, it's obvious they're not in the same location that they started?
I find it weird. This movie looks like it's green screened, even though I'm pretty sure like they didn't have the technology for that back then.
I'm sure they didn't have the budget for a green screen.
What was this
Yeah.
movie's budget anyway?
I have no idea. I do know that he reused the same location as Killing American Style. So I feel like he really like just had a lot of favors that he just like kept on.
To be real, there is one thing in this movie I did find kind of impressive, and that is at the end of the first chase scene when the guy was actually on fire. I was actually like,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that actually is kind of impressive.
yeah.
Did they have to
That is
actually
like
light a
the
guy
one
on
thing in
fire,
this
though?
movie.
They did
That is like
light
the
a guy
one
on
thing in this
fire, but
movie,
was
unironically
obviously-
impressive.
they did light him on fire, but he was obviously wearing like a fireproof suit.
And it was obviously not the same guy as who was in the car.
Yeah.
It was obviously
Um,
not the same actor. So, points taken away, but I'll give you credit that it did look all right.
How much do they
Yeah.
have to pay you for lighting your whole body on fire?
Yeah, who knows?
It has to be a fucking lot, because there's no way anyone sane enough would do that for, like, minimum pay.
Well, I mean, if you hire a stuntman, like that's his job, so he's used to it. The lip syncing editing, I found the dubbing to be just hilarious. Like, oh my god, it's so off and very blatantly, obviously dubbed.
There was one scene in the hospital where, I think one of the officers was tracking down one of the nurses. He's like, hey, wait a minute, nurse. His lips, like, weren't even moving at all.
So, I think we thoroughly talked about stuff we liked. Is there anything we didn't like?
Oh
Where the fuck do I
boy.
begin?
Let's
Where the
start with
fuck
the
do I
obvious one.
No, I mean like stuff that wasn't entertaining. Cause like we talked about all the stuff that sucked but
Yeah.
entertained us. But what about the stuff that sucked and just sucked?
Yeah. So, should we just get the big one out of the way?
Okay, yeah, the
Yeah.
sex scenes.
The sex
Oh
scenes.
my god.
Oh, they were
Oh my
so
God.
uncomfortable, man.
I
Oh
would
my
rather
God.
watch the sex scenes from The Room.
I would too.
Yeah, because the sex scenes in the room were so funny because of like how poorly like shot they were. This one is just
One
like
of
we're
the
just watching
final ones
porn.
was just so fucking uncomfortable to watch.
Guys, actually, the one thing that like I could not believe is that they followed up a torture scene where they're burning a woman with a frying pan water, followed by a sex scene.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
That's just
Yeah.
severe mood whiplash.
But yeah, other than the sex scenes, anything else you guys didn't like? From the
Honestly,
entertainment aspect?
there was I I I hated the scene where they they ask the guy, "All right, where's the samurai cop?" and they kill him and his wife. That was uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they start tearing off his wife's shirt, and I'm like, what the hell? And then they shoot her, and then they shoot him, and he's
Oh.
crawling over to her, and he's like, "No, I'm sorry." And then they
Ooh,
die, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what is this?"
Yeah. Ugh.
That scene was awful to sit through.
Something I didn't like about the film, and this is let me redo that. Something I didn't like about the film is that it's pretty much a it's pretty much a post-production disaster. Like, you've already mentioned the editing, the lighting, the mic quality. Jesus. There were so many points in the film where you could hear the actors' mics just being so muffled. And I think at one point one of them just popped.
I thought that was funny. Like, if anything, I don't know. I feel like all this bad stuff about it is why the movie is funny.
Like, if you're going
Honestly,
into this movie not looking at it from a critical eye and you just want to enjoy yourself, it does its job well for that. But if you're trying to break apart the movie piece by piece, oh my fucking god.
Yeah. So like,
I'm
if,
gonna be real with you guys. I didn't find this movie that funny. Like, ironically,
oh,
I don't know. I mean, I was engaged in how awful it was, but like I didn't really laugh. I mean, I chuckled a few times, but like for the most part, I was just kind of uncomfortable, to be real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit on my rankings of like favorite so bad it's good movies, this isn't on the higher end. Like Food Fight and The Room, like those are to me, those are like great so bad it's good movies.
I would
But
put
like
this above Food Fight. I think that movie's just a mess with
yeah, but
almost no redeeming value,
Fight
but
is more entertaining to me.
Yeah, I agree.
how
I would
awkward
still
it
put
is.
this below The
more-
Room, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
room
not
is.
It's
Yeah.
not as funny as The Room. Yeah, like
Honestly, though, I think a big reason why I just didn't find it that funny is because a lot of the aspects that you would find so bad they're funny is very repetitive. Like a lot of that comes from like the fighting choreography and the ways people die, and like it was just very repetitive to me. It's like everybody pretty much died in the exact same way and screamed in the exact same way, and like I'm just like, can you give me something new?
I would say at the very least the action is the best part of the film, but that's as big of a compliment as I could probably give the movie.
yeah.
Okay, the biggest compliment I can give it is the one fire effect in the beginning.
I guess
Yeah.
that too.
Like, and in terms of bad movies, there are funnier bad movies, and in terms of and like there are even movies that are intentionally bad, like they're purposely poorly made that are a lot funnier. Like well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, like there is merit in like just how awful like its presentation is in like the lighting and the acting and the editing and everything, but you can do better in terms of bad movies.
Yeah. So it's an all right bad movie. Like if I was rating it on entertainment value, like 5 or 6 out of 10. Overall quality, it's like 2 stars out of 10.
I would
If I-
say, as a movie, if you're looking at this as a movie and you're judging it based off of every aspect, I would say this has. I would say this would be a 3 out of 10. But if you're just
Mm,
watching it for pure entertainment, or maybe if you're just watching it with a group of friends who want to laugh at something, then I'd say this is an 8 out of 10 because it does that job pretty well.
yeah.
If I was
Uh,
rating it as an actual movie, I give it a 2. In terms of entertainment, I'd honestly give it a 4.
Really?
I
yeah.
wasn't really crazy about this one, to be honest. Maybe it's better if you watch it with friends, but I watched it alone because
Yeah, we all watched
in no way am I letting my parents sit through this.
I showed my dad a couple clips of it. I didn't show him any of the sex stuff, but I showed him a couple clips, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is bad."
Honestly, I wish I saw this with friends.
Yeah,
Maybe next time we get together, we'll
yeah.
sit
Next time we
maybe it's more fun that way.
There
but-
is a sequel, so we could watch that together.
Yeah, but the sequel, I don't like sequels to So Bad It's Good movies because they always have a self-awareness to it that it's bad, and it's never quite as good, you know? But yeah, next time someone recommends a So Bad It's Good movie, how about I just live stream it here and you guys like watch it so we can all watch it together? 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna work as a one.
Alright.
So anyway, in terms of what happened to all the people involved, the director died in the early 2000s, and they made a sequel on Kickstarter. That's really it. Most of the actors reprised their role. The one that didn't pretty died before they could start filming. But yeah, not much to it. If you want movies similar to Samurai Cop, I broke it up into 2 lists. Stuff that's actually good and stuff that's bad. So for actually good, even though I don't like Lethal Weapon, most people do, so I'd recommend Lethal Weapon. Maybe I'd recommend Tango and Cash. For something comedic, I'd recommend Black Dynamite and Kung Pao. Those are intentionally bad, but like in a funny way. Then there's Jackie Chan's Police Story, which is, a classic. Who doesn't like Jackie Chan? And Kung Fury, which is a comedy kung fu movie. Pretty funny. For So Bad It's Good movies, Amir Shervin's other movies, Killing American Style and Hollywood Cop. Miami Connection, I've heard a lot of people compare it to Samurai Cop, but I haven't seen it. Obviously, Troll 2 in the Room, as those are probably the most iconic ones. Urban Justice by Steven Seagal, and me personally, I'd recommend Too Fast, Too Furious from the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. You guys have anything else to say?
We should watch the sequel on our own time. Together.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, Patrick, do you want to recommend the movie for next week?
Next week, seeing as
speaking
we're not
of-
really what?
What streaming services do you have?
No, I mean,
Probably-
I have a movie in mind.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking what streaming services you have just for future.
Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it looks like everyone has access to Netflix at the very least.
Yeah.
All right.
A movie I was thinking of is a movie I've not seen in years, but like in thinking about what movies should we talk about on this podcast, maybe this will be a decent one to talk about. The Green Hornet.
I've
I want
never
to say
seen
I've
that
heard
one.
that.
Aha,
Seth
a movie that none of
Rogen's
us have seen.
superhero movie.
No, I've seen it once.
It's a Seth Rogen superhero movie. Yeah, I've never seen it, but yeah, that'd be cool. All right.
All
so
right,
Green
so,
Hornet next week.
Next week, The Green Hornet.
Yeah. I want to say
Alright.
that this is where we're gonna answer questions from YouTube comments, but right now the first episode is up on YouTube when we're recording this, but there are no comments. So, oops.
Right. You can watch Green Hornet on Netflix, so we all have access to that.
Is it free
Alright.
on
Yeah.
Netflix?
I mean,
Well,
it's Netflix. I don't see why
yeah.
it wouldn't be
If you
free.
have a subscription on Netflix, you get everything
Right,
on
right.
Netflix. It's not like Disney Plus where some stuff you have to pay extra. Bastards.
All right. So,
Alright.
any other comments, guys?
Oh, all right.
I want to say
see
I
you
have
next week.
something. I am kind of sorry for putting you through this. At the same time, I'm not.
All right. Well,
Don't worry. I'll get back at you one day. I'll get back at you.
We will do the room
I
at some point, though.
really need to go to the bathroom right now.
What more can be said about the room?
A lot.
Really?
Trust me.
Yeah. All right. Well, see you guys. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Alright, see ya.
All right. Adios.